After 25 years of marriage, I thought I knew my husband completely, until one night he told me he wanted someone younger. My heart sank, and for a moment I didn't know if our love could survive. But what I said next, it left him speechless, and it changed everything. This is the story of betrayal, courage, and a love that refused to be broken.
Welcome to Voice of Alicia, where stories breathe, emotions speak, and every word paints a world of its own.
Close your eyes, relax your mind, and step into a story crafted just for you. It all began on a quiet evening that seemed ordinary, yet it carried the weight of something extraordinary about to unfold. I had been married to David for 25 years. 25 years of love, companionship, and a bond that had seemed unshakable. We had built a life together, shared dreams, raised children, and endured struggles that tested our resilience. I believed with all my heart that our connection was beyond temptation, beyond doubt.
We need to talk, he said finally, his voice low, almost unsure. I froze, knife in hand, my mind racing. About what? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. David took a deep breath, avoiding my gaze. I think I want someone younger. For a moment, I couldn't process the words. My hand stilled on the chopping board. My chest tightened. 25 years. Everything we had shared. And suddenly, he wanted someone younger. Someone younger? I echoed, my voice barely above a whisper. After everything we've been through? He nodded, shame and fear mingling on his face. I don't know why I feel this way. I feel like I'm missing something, like life is passing me by. I see them, younger women, full of energy, excitement. I don't know how to explain it. I set down the knife slowly, my mind scrambling to find the right words. I knew that responding in anger or tears would only give him power over me in this moment. Instead, I took a deep breath and focused on my voice, my presence, my inner strength. David, I began carefully, do you really think youth is what's missing? Do you think someone younger will suddenly make life exciting, meaningful, and fulfilling in a way that we haven't already discovered together? He looked at me, eyes wide, searching for understanding, for a justification he could accept. I just feel restless. I feel like I need something more. I stepped closer, my tone steady, deliberate. Do you remember when we were 25? When we dreamed about growing old together? Did those dreams mean nothing to you? Did all the promises we made to each other, the plans we nurtured, the struggles we endured, mean nothing? He shifted uncomfortably, unable to meet my gaze. I thought I needed to feel alive again. Alive? I asked, my voice soft but firm. David, do you truly believe that chasing someone younger will give you life? Or is it just a distraction from fear, from the discomfort of facing the years ahead together? He swallowed hard, silence stretching between us. I could see the conflict in his eyes. Guilt, longing, confusion. He didn't want to hurt me, but he couldn't hide the desire that had taken root. I continued, letting my words flow naturally, speaking from a place of truth and strength. I have spent 25 years with you. I have seen your best, your worst, your fears, your dreams. I have loved you in ways no one else could. And in all that time, I have grown too. I have become strong, independent, and unapologetically myself. If you seek someone younger because you think they will complete you, you are missing the ability to see what is already here, what is already real, what is already extraordinary. David's shoulders slumped slightly. He looked like he was about to speak, but I held up a hand, gently, not in anger, but in authority over my own life. Don't try to defend this, I said quietly.
don't explain it away. Listen. Listen to what I am telling you. I am not afraid of losing you. I am afraid of losing myself in someone who doesn't truly see me. I am afraid of watching you chase illusions while disregarding the love and life we have built. If you want someone younger, you can have them. But know this, I will not beg for your attention. I will not fight for a place in a heart that does not fully appreciate me.
My love is not a commodity. It is not something to be replaced or exchanged. It is my power, and it is mine to give or to withhold. He blinked, a tear glistening in his eye. For the first time, I saw vulnerability, regret, and the dawning realization that he had underestimated me. I saw a man confronted with the truth, that the heart he took for granted was stronger than he expected. I thought you would fight for me, he said, his voice cracking. I am fighting, I said, but I am fighting for truth, not for illusions. I am fighting for us, but I will not fight alone. I need honesty, commitment, and the courage to choose love over fear. If you can't do that, then you need to leave, and I will stand tall without you. The following days were quiet, tense. We did not speak much. There was no yelling, no pleading, just silence and reflection. I gave him space to think, to confront the emotions he had stirred, to see the emptiness that youth could not fill. And in that silence, I found clarity. I realized that my strength lay not in clinging, but in standing firm, in demonstrating that my worth was non-negotiable. He began to notice small things again, the comfort of our routines, the laughter we shared, the intimacy that had nothing to do with appearances. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the desire for someone younger began to fade. It was replaced by appreciation, recognition, and the gentle understanding of what truly mattered. One evening, a few weeks later, he took my hand and looked into my eyes. I was foolish, he said quietly. I thought I needed excitement, someone new. But I see now, I had everything with you all along. I just didn't realize it. I squeezed his hand, a small smile playing at my lips. It's never too late to choose love over fear, I said softly. And in that moment, I understood something profound. The power of love is not in clinging, not in possession, not in youth. It is in courage, respect, truth, and the wisdom to demand the place you deserve in someone's heart. From that day forward, our marriage was different. Not because David had faltered, but because I had stood. Because I had shown the strength of my love and my self-respect. And that, I realized, is the most enduring form of love. One that survives temptation, fear, and doubt. Not by accident, but by the deliberate courage of a heart that refuses to be diminished. In the weeks following that conversation, life felt like a fragile truce. We were together, yet the air was thick with unspoken words. I watched David closely, not to spy or punish, but to understand him. I needed to see whether his desire for someone younger was a fleeting fantasy or a reflection of something deeper, something that threatened the foundation of our marriage. I remembered the early days of our relationship, the first time he held my hand. We were young, naive, yet certain. I could still feel the warmth of his palm, the electricity that ran through me when our fingers intertwined. And now, standing in that kitchen, he had confessed to wanting someone else. Yet beneath the confession, I saw fear, a fear of growing older, of losing relevance, of facing mortality. I realized that his desire wasn't about someone else. It was about what he hadn't yet reconciled within himself. One night, I decided to confront this directly, not with anger, but with honesty. "David," I said softly, as we sat in the living room, the muted light from the lamp casting shadows on the walls. "You've been distant. I can feel it. Tell me, is it really someone younger you want, or are you running from yourself?"
He hesitated, staring at the floor. I don't know. Maybe both. I'm scared, I guess. Scared that I've wasted my youth. Scared that I've grown old without noticing it. I don't want to feel invisible. I nodded, understanding more than I expected. You're not invisible. You never were. But this obsession with youth, it blinds you to what's already here. You are missing the beauty of the life you've built, the love that's real, the partnership we've nurtured. He looked at me, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. I feel trapped sometimes, like I've missed opportunities, like there's a part of me I can't recover. David, I said gently, what you're feeling is normal. We all face moments of regret, of longing for the past. But chasing someone younger won't reclaim your youth. It will only rob you of what's real, what's lasting. If you want to feel alive with me. Let's rediscover ourselves together, not through replacement, but through renewal. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he took my hand, gripping it tightly. I could feel his conflict, his yearning, his fear. And in that touch, I realized the power of patience, the power of standing firm in truth. Over the next few days, I began to see subtle changes. David was more present, more thoughtful, more attentive. He didn't bring up younger women, and the tension in his shoulders eased slightly. But I knew the test wasn't over. Desire is fleeting. Commitment is proven through action, through persistence, through facing temptation without surrender. I decided to give him an example, a challenge disguised as an ordinary evening. I planned a dinner, simple yet intimate, with soft music, candlelight, and memories scattered throughout the house. Photographs of our travels, souvenirs from adventures, mementos of laughter and tears. As we sat across from each other, he looked around, and I could see the recognition in his eyes, the realization of what we had, the life we had built. I didn't realize, he said quietly, almost to himself, how much I've taken for granted. That's why I spoke to you that night, I replied. Not to punish, not to hurt, but to wake you up. To remind you that what we have is precious, and it can't be replaced. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was contemplative. It was a space where truths were allowed to settle, where hearts could reflect, and where choices became real. That night, he held my hand longer than usual, and for the first time since his confession, I felt the shift, the subtle but undeniable change in our bond. He was no longer chasing a fantasy. He was beginning to see reality, the life we had built, the love that endured, and the woman who had stood her ground, unshaken, unapologetic, and resolute. As weeks turned into months, our relationship began to transform in ways I hadn't anticipated. There were still moments of doubt, moments when the past threatened to return, when I questioned whether he had truly changed. But more often than not, there were moments of clarity, moments that reminded me why we had built a life together. One rainy afternoon, I found myself reflecting on the journey. I was sitting by the window, watching the rain streak across the glass, thinking about the twists and turns of our marriage. I realized that love isn't static. It evolves. It faces tests that aren't always fair or expected. And the true measure of a relationship isn't the absence of challenges. It's how those challenges are met. I remembered a conversation we had decades ago when we were first married. David had told me, I want a love that lasts a lifetime. At the time, I had smiled, thinking it was a sentiment shared by everyone. But now I understood. A love that lasts a lifetime isn't about youth or passion or even compatibility. It's about resilience, honesty, and the courage to face discomfort without fleeing. That afternoon, I called him into the room. David, can we talk? I asked. He looked up from his book, a small smile forming. Of course. I gestured toward the rain outside. Do you see that storm? Life isn't always sunny, right? There are storms, and sometimes they shake us. But storms also show us what is strong, what will endure. He nodded, understanding dawning in his eyes. Are you saying we're in a storm? Yes, I replied. But it's not the storm that defines us. It's how we weather it. You wanted someone younger because you were afraid, restless, and seeking something you thought you had lost. But what you've lost isn't outside. It's inside. And we can reclaim it, together, if we choose to. He looked at me, the vulnerability clear on his face. I don't want to lose us. I don't want to lose you. You won't, I said, taking his hand. But you must understand, love isn't about fear. It's about presence, commitment, and respect. If you want to stay with me, you must commit fully, not just in words, but in action, in choices, in how you live each day with me. He nodded again, this time with certainty. I will, he said. I promise. The next few months were a slow rebuilding process. We reconnected through conversations, shared activities, and quiet moments that reminded us why we had fallen in love in the first place. We laughed more, argued less, and listened to each other with renewed patience. And I watched him transform, not because I demanded it, but because he realized the value of what he almost lost. It wasn't all smooth sailing. There were still moments when insecurity crept in, moments when I questioned whether his desire for someone younger might resurface. But each time I confronted it, not with anger, but with honesty. I shared my fears, my expectations, and my boundaries clearly, and he responded with humility, gratitude, and effort. One evening, after a particularly long day, he pulled me aside. I want you to know something, he said, his voice earnest. I've been thinking a lot about that night and everything you said. I've realized that you were right. I was running from my fears instead of facing them. I was looking for excitement in all the wrong places. I listened, my heart swelling with a mix of relief and pride. It takes courage to admit that, I replied, and it takes even more courage to change. I want to change, he said, taking both my hands in his. Not just for us, but for myself. I don't want to live in fear anymore. I want to truly see what we have and cherish it every day. And that was the turning point. From that day on, we began a new chapter, not defined by the past mistakes, but by the conscious choice to love fully, deeply, and intentionally. We started small, date nights, walks in the park, revisiting places that held memories. We laughed like we did when we were young, but with the depth and understanding that comes with decades of shared life. The desire for someone younger disappeared, replaced by gratitude, appreciation, and renewed connection. Years later, when I look back on that dark moment, I realize it was a test not of our love, but of my strength, my courage, and my self-respect. I could have crumbled, begged, or diminished myself, but I chose to stand tall, to demand truth, to insist on respect. And that choice saved not just our marriage, but my dignity and my identity. David never forgot that night, nor the words I spoke. He often tells me now, with sincerity, that it changed him. It opened his eyes to what real love is, to the power of presence, honesty, and commitment. Our marriage today is stronger than it has ever been, not because we avoided challenges, but because we faced them head on. Not because youth or passion defines us, but because respect, trust, and courage do. And I am proud, not just of our love, but of the woman I became because I refused to be diminished by fear or betrayal. Love, I learned, is not about clinging, replacing, or running. It is about standing firm, speaking truth, and having the courage to walk away if respect is not given. And when both hearts choose to stay, fully and intentionally, it becomes unbreakable. A love that endures, a love that transforms, a love that teaches us the greatest lesson of all, that our worth is never determined by someone else, but by the strength, courage, and love we carry within ourselves. And that ultimately is the story I want to share. A story not just about marriage, betrayal, or desire, but about the power of a woman who knew her worth, demanded respect, and transformed her life and her marriage by refusing to settle for anything less. Thank you for spending your time with Alicia. If this story moved you, let your support be felt.
Like, share, and subscribe. Your presence inspires the next tale.
Until our voices meet again, stay calm, stay curious, and keep dreaming.